It's happening, of course, as lawmakers begin talks on changes regarding immigration agents and raids nationally. The Department of Homeland Security is proactively, we understand, taking steps to make sure that those changes happen on its own. But the border czar, Tom Homan, announced hundreds of federal agents will leave Minneapolis. But the question for a lot of people is, will that be enough to move the needle to avoid another shutdown in 2 weeks? Here's NBC's Julie Sirkin from Washington.
The government shutdown is over. But the hard work is only beginning for lawmakers, working to hatch a bipartisan deal on changes to immigration enforcement in exchange for their votes to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats are making at least 3 demands: an end to roving ICE patrols and warrantless arrests, and for agents to take off their masks. But not surprisingly, the two sides are far apart.
I think what we put together is a finite list of reasonable changes that mean that the ICE officials and the Border Patrol officials handled by the same standards as the police in your community. Why shouldn't they?
If a deal means something that will effectively prevent ICE from doing its job, like completely changing the warrant requirements, like forcing ICE agents to be exposed so they can be doxxed, I'm not going to support that.
Negotiators, including the White House, have just 9 days to find common ground. The push for change brought on by protests in Minneapolis against the administration's immigration crackdown, especially after 2 American citizens were shot and killed by federal agents. Looking to turn down the temperature, border czar Tom Homan today said that hundreds of federal immigration officers will be leaving.
I have announced effective immediately, we will draw down 700 people effective today. 700 law enforcement personnel.
More than 3,000 federal immigration agents swarmed Minneapolis as part of the surge, and Democrats say removing 600 is not enough.
It's not close to enough. They all have to leave now.
In an exclusive interview, NBC Nightly News anchor Tom Yamas asked President Trump about the situation in Minneapolis.
Mr. President, speaking of Minneapolis, what did you learn?
I learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough.
And while officials work to soften tensions there, on Capitol Hill, negotiations are ramping up, a task some lawmakers call impossible, others holding out hope.
We ought to come up with a miracle once in a while around here.
If Republicans and Democrats can't come to a compromise, there is a good chance that the Department of Homeland Security will go without funding. That means no money for disaster relief, FEMA response, TSA. But get this, ICE and immigration enforcement will still get funding. That's because Republicans passed additional money in the president's so-called One Big Beautiful bill last summer. In Washington, Julie Sirkin, NBC News.